Curtis Haggins was literally blessed by an angel. An anonymous benefactor gave him and his best friend scholarships to Pinewood School, making them two of only a handful of East Palo Alto students attending a private school. A skilled basketball player, he was awarded an athletic scholarship to Western Illinois University. He's returned to East Palo Alto to give back to his community as Dean of Students and basketball coach at Mid-Peninsula High School. Unfortunately, his friend went down a different path. But ironically, Curtis attributes his own success to his friend's troubled life and to their very special relationship. He describes both his schooling and his friend as having saved him.
It saved me because I took advantage of it, but he saved me because he went down a different path and I kind of lived the wrong path through him and he lived the right path through me. It's kind of oxymoronic, but that's the way it worked out.
What was the wrong path that he went down? What happened to him? What did he get into?
He started selling drugs. He started getting in trouble with the police. He was still going to school, playing sports, still a stellar athlete, but he became a drug dealer. He became, fascinated with seeing, people with cars and fancy clothes and a lot of money in their pocket, and it was his way. He had to do it to survive, so that's the way he went. I continued to go to school. He ended up, going back and forth to juvenile, prison, county jail, and, that's the road that I didn't travel. I went to high school, I went to junior college, I went to 4-year college, and he never got to experience that, but he experienced it through my letters, and I experienced his time in jail through his letters. So I think we lived through one another, kind of.
It's an interesting twist because it could easily have been that he kind of sucked you into his world. How did his being in that world help keep you out?
Well, he wouldn't allow me to go to that world. It's kind of like he sacrificed himself for me, so to say. And most of the neighborhood drug dealers wouldn't allow me to go into that world because my grandfather ran the Menlo Park Boys and Girls Club for like 20 years. I was a good basketball player. My family had a good name in the community, so they wouldn't allow me to go down that path, even if I had tried to go down that path.
Now, you are a dean at Mid-Peninsula High School.
Yes.
How have you taken all that experience and translated it into what you do?
Being a dean to me is just, basically I'm a facilitator, I'm a liaison between the students and the principal and the parents and the principal.
Does that put you like between a rock and a hard place?
Sometimes I gotta make tough phone calls and I gotta set up tough meetings, and I'm the first line of communication pretty much when someone's gonna get sent home or somebody's gonna get suspended or expelled, or if something happens, they come get me. And I'm there to listen to the students as well, to be an ear, but not be a friend, but just be there for them and try to give them somebody on campus that will listen to them as well.
So I gather you've seen a lot of kids come in and then over the course of their time there change significantly, so they're not the same when they leave.
Yeah, I've seen kids come in that didn't want no contact with adults at all, don't want to look you in the face, don't want you to touch them, and then, on graduation day they're hugging you and they're happy and go from an angry place to a happy place. I don't know what happens. We have, staff members that say that this kid has been mid-pinned or whatever, coined that phrase, and it's just, I guess they get there and they start feeling comfortable, they start believing in themselves, they start, getting self-confidence, and they finally start trusting someone. And I think, we get them a place where they can trust adults. We're not constantly, talking academics or saying you have to be in AP classes or this and that. We allow them to be individuals and they can let down their guards, and it just happens over time. I'm not saying everyone that comes through the door, it works for them, because it doesn't, but for the most part, we've seen some drastic changes in a lot of kids.
But from what I know, you do a lot more than just coaching. I mean, you take a personal interest in some of these kids.
For most, I'm a father figure to them. I give them someone who came from the same neighborhood and that has been successful academically, and so I give them, someone to emulate that's come, because it's kind of hard if you're not from the community and you come in, you can preach all this stuff, but you haven't went through the same struggle as them, and I've been through that struggle, so I think they kind of look at me and the other volunteers and say, okay, they've been through the fire, we're gonna follow their lead, so.
Do you ever worry about the hoop dreams problem that these kids will think, oh, basketball, sports, this is the road to
the
NBA?
I mean, I don't wanna ever douse anyone's dreams, because I dreamed of being an NBA basketball player. But the reality of it is I try to teach them to use basketball and not let basketball use them. And what I mean by that is use the sport to get a free education. And if the NBA happens, the NBA happens, but there's nothing like graduating from college with no student loans, So I'm telling them to use the sport, don't let the sport use you, and don't get caught up in, having to go Division I or go to this certain college. I tell them, go to the level that suits you, and as long as it's free, it's free. So I just try to keep it that basic for them.